Hello and welcome or welcome back to the Import Export Hub channel, everybody. Baz Bagdan here, your host for the next couple of minutes. Thanks for joining in. I hope that you are all doing great. And without asking you to hit those small vanity buttons below this video, let's dive into today's topic, in which I will cover 5 products that are worth exporting towards Greece. And my first recommendation for you comes from heading 0406. So we are talking about cheese and curd. And as we can all see together here, in 2022, Greece's imports from this heading amounted to $720 million, with Germany, the Netherlands, and Italy as the main partners, which were followed in this top 10 list by others like Australia or Romania. And it ends here with Belgium, who managed to export some $15.3 million worth of products from this heading. Looking at the 2018-2022 time frame, it seems that 2022 was the best year, at least in terms of the value imported, and overall we have a positive 6.2% compound annual growth rate, which is quite good, especially in what concerns the figures for both Germany and the Netherlands. Basically both with impressive figures. Now, drilling down on a year-on-year basis, we see that Greece's imports increased with 24% relative to the previous year, so 2021, or almost $141 million, which is again impressive, with all the top 10 partners having registered positive changes. The largest ones, at least in absolute terms, happening in relation with Germany and the Netherlands, as we have some $41 million more imports coming from the former, and almost $61 million more imports coming from the latter. And guys, speaking of the Netherlands, I will tell you that subheading 040690 drove most of the exports from this country towards Greece, and the same holds true for Romania, who seems to be the only country in this top 10 list, at least, who have a negative compound annual growth rate, but it's quite negligible. So this was my first recommendation for you, and now I'll move to my second one, which comes from heading 0201. So we are talking about meat of bovine animals, fresh or chilled. And as we can see here, Greece's imports in 2022 amounted to some $590 million, some 10% more relative to 2021, with France here, Spain, and the Netherlands as the main partners, which were followed by other important ones like Poland or Denmark. And it ends here with Bulgaria, who managed to export towards Greece some $4.2 million. Now, relative to the compound annual growth rate, again for the last 5 years, we see that we have a positive 3.3% overall, with almost all the top 10 partners registering positive values, except for France, who had a negative 2.6%. But who still has a strong position, who is contested by both Spain and the Netherlands, who are catching up, and consequently they are reducing the gap. Now, relative to the year-on-year changes, we see a positive 10% overall, some $54 million in absolute terms, with Spain here having registered the largest absolute positive change of $18 million, which should raise some concerns for the French exporters. As for the main drivers, we have fresh or chilled bovine cuts with bone in it, excluding carcasses and half carcasses, coming from France, while from Denmark we have fresh or chilled bovine meat, boneless. Moving now, guys, to my third recommendation for you. We have here heading 7204, ferrous waste and scrap, with some $441 million worth of imports for 2022, with the United States, Romania, and Cyprus as the main partners, which were followed by others like North Macedonia or Italy. And it ends here with France, who managed to export some $16 million worth of ferrous scrap. I don't know if the increase in the imports from the last 5 years is correlated with an increase of recycling activity in Greece or just re-exports, but clearly Greece is on upward trend, having registered a 7% compound annual growth rate, with 2022 as the year with the largest value. And we can see that this also, if we look at the year-on-year changes, who had almost 17% increase, or $63 million, give or take, which is really, really good. And guys, speaking of year-on-year changes, I will tell you who registered the largest absolute changes, both negative and positive. So on the negative side, we see Lebanon, who with some $48 million contraction, while the positive side, we have the United States with some $41 million positive change, basically proving itself as the largest partner for Greece. As for the main drivers, well, we see that for both the United States and Romania, we have the same subheading, 720449. So we're talking about waste and scrap of iron or steel. Jumping now to my fourth recommendation, we have here heading 3923. So we are talking about articles used for the packaging of goods like plastic lids, plastic stoppers, and the like, with some $324 million worth of imports in 2022, with Italy here, China, and Turkey as the main partners, which were followed by others like, I don't know, Germany or Poland. And the top 10 list stands here with the Netherlands, who managed to export towards Greece some $9.4 million worth of goods in 2022 from this particular heading. Now, in what concerns the compound annual growth rate for the last 5 years, we see that we have almost a 7% positive change, with China having the largest value of 22%. Italy did pretty well also, but my guess is that for 2023, China would have surpassed Italy as Greece's main partner for this heading. On the negative side, guys, it seems that both Germany and the Netherlands registered contractions, as we have a negative compound annual growth rate of 1.5% for the former and almost 2.5% for the latter. While if I narrow down my analysis on a year-on-year basis, we have an absolute positive change of $25 million overall, with very, very good figures for Italy, China, and Bulgaria, all with figures above the $7 million mark. While on the negative side, Germany had the largest absolute change, some $2.5 million. Well, as for the main drivers, we have sacks and bags of plastics, excluding those of polymers of ethylene coming from China, and sacks of and bags of polymers of ethylene coming from Poland here. So we are talking about subheading 392321. And lastly, guys, my fifth recommendation for you is coming from heading 2309. So we are talking about preparations used in animal feeding, and we see that Greece's overall imports amounted to some $301.5 million overall in 2022. With Italy, France, and the Netherlands as the main partners. It continues with others like Spain or Serbia, and the top 10 list ends here with Denmark, who managed to export almost $9.5 million worth of goods from this heading. As we can see here, Italy has a strong presence with some 23% share in Greece's imports from this heading. And it also managed a good 5.8% compound annual growth rate. As for the year-on-year changes, we see a 14% positive change, who translated into some $37 million, with Italy, Poland, Serbia, and also Denmark registering good absolute positive figures. While on the other side of the spectrum, if you want, we have Germany, who had a $2.5 million contraction. As for the main drivers, well, we have dog or cat food put up for retail sale coming from Italy, and from Denmark we have subheading 230991. So we are talking about preparations of a kind used in animal feeding, excluding dog or cat food put up for retail sale. And guys, with this last recommendation being covered as well, that's it for today. I hope you've liked it. Thank me by hitting those small buttons below this video. And as usual, until next time, keep your business safe. Thanks.